Hello, welcome to Capital Sensei. Today we're gonna travel back in time, not with a time machine, but with a book that's nearly a century old, yet holds secrets more relevant than ever. We're diving deep into George S. Clayson's The Richest Man in Babylon. We'll break down the famous 7 Cures for a Lean Purse and the 5 Laws of Gold, transforming ancient parables into practical, modern-day financial strategies you can start using right now. As we go through these concepts, you'll probably have questions or see connections to your own life. That's fantastic! Whenever we can, we answer questions in the comments. So, I really encourage you to share your doubts, your successes, or even your financial struggles. Your story might be the exact thing someone else needs to read to finally have their breakthrough. Let's build a community of learning together. So, let's set the stage. The book is set in ancient Babylon, and there's a good reason for that. Babylon was one of the wealthiest cities of the ancient world. It had massive walls, incredible architecture, and gold everywhere. You'd think everyone living there was rich, right? Well, not exactly. Just like in our modern cities, the vast majority of people were living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to get by, even though they were surrounded by immense wealth. This is the central problem the book tackles. The story begins with 2 friends, Bansere, a chariot builder, and Kabi, a musician. Both are masters of their craft. People pay good money for Bansere's chariots and for Kabi's music. By all accounts, they should be well off. Yet, their purses are perpetually empty. They're frustrated, sitting on a wall, lamenting how they work so hard but have nothing to show for it. This feeling is probably familiar to a lot of us. It's that sensation of running on a hamster wheel. Their frustration leads them to a decision. They decide to seek out their childhood friend, Arcad. Arcad wasn't born into wealth. He started just like them, but through his own wisdom, he became known as the richest man in all of Babylon. They figure if anyone knows the secret to building wealth, it's him. So, they gather their other broke friends and go to Arcad's grand estate to ask him the $1 million question. Or, well, the $1,000,000 shekel question. How do you get rich? Arcad agrees to teach them, and this is where we get the first and arguably the most important lesson of the entire book. He calls it the first cure for a lean purse. He looks at his eager friends and says, "A part of all you earn is yours to keep." It sounds so simple, almost too simple. Of course what I earn is mine, right? But Arcad explains that's not what we actually do. Think about it. When you get paid, where does the money go first? It goes to the landlord for rent, to the grocery store for food, to the utility company, to pay off debts. We pay everyone else first. By the time we're done paying all our bills, there's often nothing left for the most important person, ourselves. Arcad's advice is to flip this script entirely. Pay yourself first. Before you pay anyone else, take a portion of your income and set it aside for yourself. He suggests a specific amount. For every 10 coins you earn, keep at least 1 for yourself. In modern terms, that's 10%. Save 10% of every single paycheck, no matter how big or small. This isn't the money you use for next month's bills. This is your wealth-building money. It's the seed from which your fortune will grow. It must be untouchable for daily expenses. Now, I can hear the objections already. 10%? I can barely survive on 100% of my income. And that's a valid concern. Arcad addresses this. He says if 10% is too much, start with a smaller amount. Start with 5% or even 1%. The initial amount is less important than building the habit. The discipline of setting money aside first automatically is the financial muscle you need to build. Once you get used to living on 99% of your income, you can try living on 98 and so on until you reach that 10% goal. Let me give you a modern analogy. Think of your paycheck as a freshly baked pizza. The old way is you let everyone else take a slice first. The landlord, the credit card company, the phone company. You just get whatever scraps are left over. The Babylonian way says the moment that pizza comes out of the oven, you take the first best slice for yourself and put it in a special container. Only then do you start serving everyone else from what remains. That first slice is your future. Once you've started fattening your purse, we move to the second cure. Control thy expenditures. This is basically a fancy, ancient way of saying make a budget. But it's more profound than just tracking spreadsheets. Arcad explains that what we call necessary expenses have a funny way of growing to equal our income, whatever that income may be. This is a phenomenon we now call lifestyle inflation. You get a raise at work, and what's the first thought? Great! Now I can afford a bigger apartment, a newer car, more subscriptions. Suddenly, that extra money is gone, and you're in the exact same financial position as before, just with fancier stuff. You're still living paycheck to paycheck, but on a higher level. Your necessary expenses expanded to meet your new income. The cure is to consciously differentiate between your true needs and your desires. Arcad tells his students to list all their expenses and scrutinize them. Do you really need everything you're paying for? This isn't about living a miserable life of deprivation. It's about being intentional. It's about ensuring your money is serving your long-term goals, not just your short-term whims. Imagine your income is water flowing into a bathtub. Your expenses are the drain. If the drain is wide open, the tub will never fill, no matter how much water you pour in. Budgeting is like putting a stopper in the drain. You're not trying to stop the water from ever leaving. You just want to control the flow so that the water level, your savings, can actually rise. Controlling your expenditures ensures that the 10% you're saving isn't just pulled back out to cover an over-budget month. So you're saving money and you're controlling your spending. Great! But if that money just sits in a chest or in a modern savings account, it's not doing much. It's safe, but it's lazy. This brings us to the third cure. Make thy gold multiply. This is the leap from being a saver to becoming an investor. Arcad explains that every coin you save is like a worker. Your goal is to send these workers out into the marketplace to earn more coins for you. He tells a story about lending money to a shield maker. The shield maker uses the money to buy bronze, makes shields, sells them at a profit, and then pays Arcad back his original loan plus a portion of the profit, which we would call interest or a return on investment. Arcad's money worked for him and came back with friends. This is the essence of passive income. It's money you earn while you sleep. In our world, this means putting your saved money into assets that generate returns. This could be stocks, which represent ownership in a company. It could be bonds, where you're essentially lending money to a government or corporation. It could be real estate, where you earn rental income. The specific vehicle doesn't matter as much as the principle. Your money must be put to work. This is where the magic of compound interest comes into play. It's not just your original savings that are working for you. The returns you earn also start working for you. It's like your little army of gold coins starts having children. And then those children grow up and start working too. Over a long period, this creates an exponential growth curve. It starts slow, but eventually, your money starts earning more money than you do from your actual job. That is the ultimate goal. But investing isn't without its dangers. The world is full of people who will gladly take your hard-earned money and lose it for you. This is why the fourth cure is so critical. Guard thy treasures from loss. Arkad learned this lesson the hard way. He tells a story of his first investment. He gave his savings to a brickmaker named Asmer, who was traveling to a distant city and promised to buy rare jewels to sell back in Babylon for a huge profit. It sounded like a great idea. The problem? What does a brickmaker know about jewels? Absolutely nothing. Asmer was cheated, buying worthless pieces of glass instead of gems. Arkad lost his entire savings. The lesson here is twofold. First, protect your principal. Don't be swayed by the promise of impossibly high returns. The higher the promised return, the higher the risk. Second, and more importantly, only invest in areas you understand or with people who are experts in their field. Don't give your money to someone just because they're a friend or they sound confident. Do your due diligence. In today's terms, this means not investing your life savings into a friend's revolutionary new crypto coin just because they have a slick website. It means understanding what a company does before you buy its stock. It's about avoiding speculation and focusing on sound investment. Asking your butcher for stock tips is as foolish as asking a brickmaker to buy jewels. Now for the fifth cure, which is a bit more specific, but holds a deep truth. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. In Babylon, this meant owning your own home. Arkad argues that if you pay rent to a landlord year after year, at the end of 10 or 20 years, you have nothing to show for it but a pile of receipts. All that money has gone to make your landlord richer. However, if you take out a loan to buy a home, every payment you make builds equity. You are slowly paying for an asset that you will one day own outright. Once the home is paid off, that huge monthly expense disappears, freeing up a massive amount of cash flow in your later years. Plus, you have a valuable asset to your name. Your home is a place that brings you pride and security, rather than just being a drain on your resources. Now, in the modern economy, the rent versus buy debate is more complex. There are property taxes, maintenance costs, and market fluctuations to consider. It's not always a slam dunk, but the core principle remains incredibly powerful. Find ways to turn your largest liabilities into assets. For most people, housing is their single biggest expense. Gaining control over that expense and transforming it into an investment is a massive step towards financial freedom. The sixth cure looks even further into the future. Ensure a future income. Arkad wisely points out that a man's ability to earn money doesn't last forever. We get old, we may become ill, and one day we simply won't be able to work as we once did. We need to prepare for that time. We need to set up income streams that will support us when our labor no longer can. In ancient Babylon, this might have meant buying properties to rent out or lending money with the expectation of a long-term return. In our world, this translates directly to retirement planning and insurance. This is your 401k, your IRA, your pension plan. It's the money you are systematically putting away for your future self. It's also about having a safety net, life insurance to protect your family if you pass away unexpectedly, and disability insurance to provide an income if you're unable to work. Think of it like a wise farmer. A farmer doesn't harvest his crops in the fall and eat everything immediately. He knows winter is coming, so he stores a significant portion of the harvest in the granary. That stored grain is what will feed him and his family through the cold months when the fields are barren. Your working years are your harvest season. You must fill your granary to prepare for the winter of retirement. Finally, we arrive at the seventh cure, which is perhaps the most empowering. Increase thy ability to earn. All the other cures are about how to manage the money you have. This one is about increasing the amount of money flowing in. Arcad stresses that one should never stop learning and improving. The more skills you acquire, the more wisdom you gain, the more valuable you become to society, and the more you can command in income. A craftsman who hones his skills can produce better work and charge more for it. A clerk who studies and learns can become a manager. In our world, this means investing in yourself. It means taking courses, getting certifications, reading books, learning new technologies, and developing soft skills like communication and leadership. Your earning potential is not a fixed number. It is an asset that you can and should actively develop. This cure acts as a powerful multiplier for all the others. If you increase your income, it becomes easier to save that 10%. You have more capital to put to work in investments. You can pay down your home loan faster. You can build your retirement fund more quickly. It's the engine that drives the whole wealth-building machine. Don't just focus on defense, playing good defense with your budget. You also have to play offense by increasing your income. So those are the 7 cures for a lean purse. They form a complete system. You start by paying yourself. You control your spending. You make your money work for you. You protect it from loss. You turn your home into an asset. You secure your future, and you continuously work to earn more. It's a blueprint that is as effective today as it was thousands of years ago in Babylon. But the book doesn't stop there. In a later section, we get a more condensed version of this wisdom, presented as the 5 laws of gold. This part of the story follows Arcad's son, Nomier, who is given a bag of gold and a clay tablet with these 5 laws inscribed on it. He is sent out into the world to prove he can apply this wisdom before he can inherit his father's estate. It's a powerful summary. The first law of gold states, "Gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings, to create an estate for his future and that of his family." This is a direct restatement of the first cure. Pay yourself first. It's the foundational law upon which all others are built. Without this, you have no seed capital, nothing to work with. The second law of gold is, "Gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field." This corresponds to the third cure, "Make thy gold multiply." It emphasizes that money shouldn't be idle. It should be actively employed in ventures that will make it grow. The analogy of flocks multiplying is perfect. It captures the essence of compounding. The third law of gold says, "Gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner, who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling." This is a powerful echo of the fourth cure, about guarding your treasures. It highlights the importance of seeking expert advice and avoiding foolish risks. Your money will stay with you if you treat it with caution and respect, entrusting it only to those who have a proven track record of managing wealth. The fourth law of gold is the inverse of the third. Gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar, or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. This again reinforces the fourth cure, but from a negative perspective. It's a direct warning against venturing into territory you don't understand. This is where people lose their savings. Investing in that can't miss. Restaurant with a friend who's never worked in food service, or buying into a complex financial product they can't explain. Finally, The fifth law of gold is a warning against greed and impatience. Gold flees the man who enforceth to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment. This law targets get-rich-quick schemes. It warns against anything that sounds too good to be true, because it almost certainly is. Impossible earnings are a trap, and romantic desires in investing, the idea that you'll be the one to find the 10,000 to 1 shot, is a recipe for financial ruin. Nomier, Arkad's son, initially ignores these laws. He blows his first bag of gold on a foolish bet at the horse races, trusting his own romantic desires. Then, he loses another portion by investing with a man who claimed to have an amazing business idea, but lacked any real experience. He becomes broke and desperate. It's only after hitting rock bottom that he remembers the tablet his father gave him. He starts applying the laws, saving 1/10 of his wages as a laborer, investing cautiously with a wise employer, and slowly rebuilds his fortune, eventually returning to Babylon far wealthier than when he left. His journey proves the laws work. The book is filled with other little parables that reinforce these ideas. There's the story of Dasier, the camel trader, who was once a slave in Syria because of his uncontrolled debts. His story is a powerful lesson on the destructive nature of debt and the path to reclaiming one's financial dignity. He creates a plan to pay back his debts while also saving for himself, showing that it's possible to do both simultaneously. His mantra was, "Where the determination is, the way can be found." Another great parable is about the nature of luck. Many people in Babylon believed Arkad was just lucky. A group of men discuss this, and one tells a story about an opportunity to buy a piece of land. The opportunity was available to everyone, but only one man, a wise merchant, had the foresight and, more importantly, the available capital to act on it. Years later, a major city gate was built next to that land, making it incredibly valuable. Was the merchant lucky? The book argues no. Luck is simply when preparation meets opportunity. The merchant was prepared because he had followed the laws of gold. He had capital ready when opportunity knocked. For everyone else, it was just another day. So what's the big takeaway from the richest man in Babylon? It's that the rules of building wealth are shockingly simple and timeless. They have nothing to do with predicting the stock market, or complex trading algorithms, or being born into the right family. They are about behavior. They are about discipline, patience, and wisdom. First, you must make a conscious decision to build wealth by paying yourself first. This is non-negotiable. Second, you must live within your means by controlling your spending. This creates the surplus that allows you to invest. Third, you must put your surplus to work, letting it grow through compounding. Fourth, you must be a prudent and cautious investor, protecting your capital from foolish risks and schemes. And finally, you must continuously invest in your own ability to earn more. These principles don't require a genius intellect. They require consistency. The power of this book is that it frames these profound truths in simple, memorable stories. It makes the path to financial well-being feel achievable for anyone. Whether you're a chariot builder in ancient Babylon or a software engineer in the 21st century, the technology has changed, the currencies have changed, but the human behaviors that lead to wealth or poverty have remained exactly the same. The journey to becoming your own richest man or richest woman starts not with a windfall, but with the simple, powerful act of saving that first coin out of 10.